Welcome to the module on creating an effective poster presentation. I have no financial disclosures to disclose. There are really two objectives for this video. One is I want to teach you how to create a visually appealing poster that will help attract people to come talk to you about your work. And the other one is to help you use the poster to disseminate your work at a scientific conference. Our agenda today is to discuss the following. We're going to discuss authorship. We're going to discuss branding appropriately. We're going to discuss how to, what the instructions, what size posters to create, because they differ based on the conferences that you go to. Organizing, the best practices for planning and using the planning time to create for your creative time for creating your message that's going to stick. The best practices for creating a visually appealing poster, and best practices for presentation tips. The first thing on the list was authorship. So before you even start your project, when you're in the initial stages of coming up with your question and doing your literature review, if you're working in a group, you should have discussed thoroughly authorship. You should create an agenda of who's going to do what tasks, when they're going to do them, who's responsible for different aspects of the project, because this matters. And authorship, when you are an author, you're taking responsibility for all of the work that is published or disseminated. So next we're going to talk about branding appropriately. We have an Office of Communications, and they are experts, and they develop templates, and they think about our brand, and we should be utilizing their expertise and the templates that they design, because that the subconscious or the subliminal that comes along with the brand, we want that to work for us. Follow instructions, because the size of your poster matters. You want to bring the correct size of the poster to the conference. So you're going to get a letter that says, "Congratulations, you've just been accepted to present your work at the Society of Teachers of Family Medicine." And you want to bring the size poster that they tell you to bring, because financial rooms only come in so many sizes at different hotels throughout the country. There's only so many cork boards you can fit in a room. That's an additional cost. So the room charge, the cork board fee, and your cost for printing the poster all goes into decisions for determining the size. There's two different sizes. There's the landscape traditional size, and then there's the portrait or European size. It's a little smaller. Here are some different size formats. So you want to go to PowerPoint and the custom setting, and 50% of the final poster size, and here's the dimensions you would put in to get out the different size of your poster. And again, your cost is going to go into this as well. So the one thing that I want you to walk away with today is to organize your thoughts. Spend the time planning your message, getting all your materials together. What images are you going to use? What graphs do you need to print? Do all of those types of things up front and get them together before you go to the tool to implement your poster. So you can do this in various ways. You can storyboard. You can use Post-it notes and have your ideas and move them around. You can draft them as though it's a script. But you want to gather all of your materials ahead of time and think through the message. Is this the message that I want everyone to walk away with? Because that's the goal of the presentation, is what message do I want everybody to remember from my work? And this is the stage that everybody kind of skips and goes straight to the tool to implement their poster and to create their poster, instead of thinking through the components that are really necessary. And so this would be, I would say, this is the one stage that if you put the time into the planning it's going to pay off in the end, and if you organize yourself up front and determine your story. So the next step is to engage your audience versus presenting to them. When you engage an audience, you're interacting, you're sharing, you're building off other people's knowledge, and it's a reciprocal environment in where everybody teaches and everybody learns. So include people that you're talking to into the learning opportunity. You can do this through multiple different techniques. You can do it through humor. You can make things relevant. You can frame things into current events. You can use concept maps, process maps, visuals first, and text seconds as a general rule. And then you can use stories. So I'm sharing a resource with you that was written by Nancy Durrett, and it's called Resonate. Resonate is a book that was written about stories, and she wrote this book on studying famous speeches, and there was a pattern to these speeches. There was a cadence to these speeches, and it started with what is, what could be, what is, what could be, and this repeated till eventually at the end people were called to action. That's one way to think about your work, is what is today, or before you started your project, what was the literature, what did that tell you, how did you build on that, and where do we still need to go? So it's one way to think about packaging your story. The other is if you can break this into, she says that every story has a clear beginning, middle, and end. So in the beginning, the who, what, where, when, that's our background, our purpose, and our justification. So in that section, we want to talk about what's been done, who's done it, and why we're going to do something that's different or better to build on what's already previously been done, the justification. The context, the conflict, the purpose, the resolution, that's your methods, your results, and your study limitations. And the end is hopefully an actual resolution. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's the next steps before we get to a resolution, like what we've learned and where we need to go next is the areas for future research. So another technique that I want you to really seriously think about, again, when I talked about including people into the learning opportunity, you can do that through questions. So if I walked up to you at your poster and you said to me, "Hi, how you doing? What do you know about my topic? What do you know about my area of study?" I can answer and tell you what I know, and then you can gauge where you want to start your poster presentation based on my knowledge base. You want to ask the questions of an audience, whether it's a poster presentation or a large group, because that's going to include them into the learning opportunity versus you talking at them. Maybe they already know, maybe they already have already done some work in this area, and you can build together and maybe walk away with a collaborative partner for the next time around. Questions could be done with clarifying questions. They could be done, can you identify this process question? It could be just a provocative question that doesn't have a right or a wrong answer, or just tell me a little bit more about you and what you know about this area of research. The next area that I want to talk about is creating visually appealing posters. So, general rules. Visuals first. Replace full paragraphs with bullets, and use white space. Remember, the goal is to attract people to come and talk to you from probably 4 feet away. So they're going to be walking down the hall. They may have something in one hand if they're judging posters, or if they're taking notes, or if they have their program with them, or their app for looking up presentations. Might have a cocktail in the other hand, or an appetizer. And so they're making a decision as they're walking as to whether, do I really want to talk to you? And some of those decisions are going to be based on your poster. So use your poster to attract people to come talk to you. One, invite them through conversation. Use the visuals in your poster to help guide you through a storyline. So, oh, look at the results here, point to the graph, point to the results section that might be in a table format, and use it as a guide. So presentation tips. I like this acronym called Open Up. O is for organize. I talked about this earlier about the first step, the most important step is to organize your message, plan and craft what you want to say in a way that will help it stick. So you want to create the stories, the analogies, the comparisons, and utilize those things and design them in the planning stages before you ever go to the tool to implement the actual poster. That's the easy part. Hard part is the planning. P is share your passion. You went into medicine for a reason. Share what you love. Share what you've learned, why you love what you've learned. Share how it can help somebody else. So that passion will transcend and it will help folks remember. We talked earlier about engaging. Engage your audience. If they're engaged, they're more likely to remember what you talked about than if they just are passively walking down the aisle. Be natural, be yourself. So don't try to use humor if you don't feel comfortable telling jokes. Humor is a technique, but I want you to be authentically you and be your natural self when you do present. Understand your audience. Talked a little bit about that earlier. When someone's walking down the hall, are they a dean? Are they a faculty member? Are they a peer? Who is it that you're talking to? And start with that, what do you know about my topic question to kind of get a gauge so that you can start your presentation based off of where they're at. And then practice, practice, practice. That's a key to any presentation. In summary, discuss authorship first and foremost. Do that in advance. Make sure that everybody's aware and cognizant of their rules or their roles and responsibilities, and that they take accountability for the integrity of the work. Brand appropriately. So go to your Office of Communications, download the appropriate templates. Utilize the templates, don't reinvent the wheel. Have the brand work for you instead of trying to do something on your own. Look when you get your letter of acceptance for instructions on size of the poster. If not, go to the website. I know that STFM publishes sizes of the posters. Organize your thoughts, plan, plan, plan. Make sure that you're crafting a message that people will remember. Utilize visuals appropriately. Spend some time finding the right visual. And then presentation tips open up. O is for organize. P is for share your passion. E is for engage. N is for be natural, be yourself. U is for understand your audience, and P is for practice. Practice, practice, practice. Verbally practice your presentation. And utilize stories and questions and analogies and humor to engage your audience and present your research. So thank you very much.